Oh, hi, it's Heather with R-Rated Reviews, and it's Heather and Taylor tonight. Apparently, TJ's decided to have fucking the Hobbit trilogy trifecta going on. And fucking watching another troll movie. This is just a message to my peeps, to my friends, my online friends. I'll take them anywhere I can get them. So, I am so floored by the good fortune that I've had to have, like, I don't know, the nicest people on the internet commenting on my videos. I'm never anything short of shocked. And I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate that. Everyone's been really, I've been really lucky. Everyone's been super, super nice. But then there are times where I get these messages that they're not just nice. They're like, I'm sort of at a loss for words. I've gotten some of the most deeply profound, sincere comments from several of you. Like, really? And I need a minute. I wanted to collect my thoughts so I don't just sit here staring into space trying to figure out how to tell you how much I appreciate some of the things you guys have said. It's just incredible. So I always, I'm always looking for, first of all, let me just say, the honesty that you guys are making comments to me that, they're honest, because who would put themselves out there like that if it weren't? I know my videos are honest. I'm no holds barred, but the way it's reciprocated, it's kind of like, I have to use analogies. I'm just an analogy person. I need a comparison to understand things sometimes, to clearly either express or understand things. So I don't say I love you all the time. I do not randomly end a phone call with I love you to people. And because it becomes routine and mundane, I feel like it loses its value. I once had a client, before he hung up the phone, he was like, all right, thanks so much for the information. Love you, mean it, bye. And hung up. And I'm like, did he just say love you, mean it? And he called back to apologize because he was so used to saying it to his daughter that he ended his phone call with a business phone call with love you, mean it. And I'm like, how much could you mean it? You didn't even know that, it came out. Now, so I don't like saying I love you all the time. When I say it, I fucking mean it. And it's going to be, except with my children. That is the only time that I will honestly say I love you at the end of every phone call. And part of that comes from them going to school in the morning and thinking, in the world we live in, my goodness, if I didn't tell my children I love them before I didn't see them again, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. And so, but it's also genuine when I say it to them. And as a parent, you don't ever not love them. I've told TJ on many occasions, I love you, but I don't like you right now. And there's a big difference between being in love with someone and loving them and just not liking them in the moment. It doesn't matter with my children. I'm always going to love them. So when I first met TJ, I love you. I'm just, because actions speak louder than words. You won't ever have to wonder if I love you or not, because I'm going to do all the things that somebody loves you would do. But then there are going to be these rare occasions where it's like you're just so overcome with love that you are like, I love you. And it's like, so they pop out, but it's not something that I throw around or take lightly. And so there was a time, like 4 months into the beginning of our relationship where we had to spend a few weeks apart, and it was like really hard for the two of us. It was kind of like, because it was that beginning stage puppy love. It was like, it was rough. Like, he cried. Like, I was shocked that I was so upset at this temporary, you know, separation that, you know, we weren't able to see each other for a couple of weeks. And at that time, I had a project, like a lesson I had to do. And the requirement for this lesson was for me to write down the 10 worst things that had ever happened to me that were not my fault. And I was like, and I didn't want to do it. Like, I was like, no, I don't think so. Thanks. I'm good. And I needed to complete this lesson. And so I had to write down the 10, like you had to go all the way back and think of the 10 worst things that had ever happened to me that were not my fault. And when I got done with them, I was like, damn, that explains a lot of shit. And I went, and to be like open, I was like, kind of shared, like we had this moment, I shared the list with him, and I couldn't even get through like 3 of them. And he was like, I don't know if I can handle it anymore. I was like, no. And I said to him, I feel like I love you is not enough. I wanted to come up with a new way to be able to, because it's so overused that it loses its value. There's got to be a better way that you can tell someone that you love them. And so after I went through that lesson, I had said to him, I would go through that entire list. I would experience all of those things all over again, tenfold, if it meant that at the end of it, where I am with you right now, still happened. It makes it worth it. And so from that point on, I was like, all right, so I Heather love you. And that means in this moment, it's like bigger than any expression of I love you can be, because it means that I would sacrifice and go through the 10 worst things that have ever happened to me my entire life all over again if it meant I get to be with you at the end of it. Like, so I Heather love you. And when I got these comments, this is where the analogy comes in. When I got these, some of the comments I've gotten, many of them, but even more so in the last few days. I mean, I don't know how to say thank you, because I don't feel like it holds enough weight. Not that it's overused, because people don't often say thank you enough. But for me, when I say something, obviously, you know how animated and passionate I am about the things that I say and do, that when I say something, I want it to always be real. Like, I want you to feel it. And so I want to say thank you, but I'm like, how am I going to come up with a new word for thank you? And then all of a sudden I was like, ding, ding, ding. I Heather thank you. And so you would have to know the backstory of the I Heather love you to understand the magnitude of the thanks that I have when I say that I Heather thank you. And so I don't plan on using it very often. So please don't get butthurt if you don't get one right off the bat. But I just want you to know that if I ever respond to a comment and in somewhere in there it says, I Heather thank you, know that it wasn't a typo, that it was quite deliberate. And it's because I want you to know the degree and the magnitude of the thanks that I have for how kind you guys have really been to me. It's, be careful, you're encouraging me to continue. Be careful, you might get more. And so I just wanted to take those minutes to explain my gratitude for, I mean, you guys are awesome. And so if ever, and I can't tell you when they'll be, there's gonna be a time. And what struck it was a comment that I got today. So, and I know it's the JP, but I think he comes up with 2 different names sometimes. I think it's Itchy Fingers. If the JP is itchy fingers and they're the same, then that was the motivating factor for, man, I don't even know how to say thank you. Instead of having this big, long, huge fucking thank you, I'm going to have to come up with a new way. And so that's going to be the way that I do it. It's just going to be, if I'm speechless, and I Heather thank you, then just know that I appreciate you with a level of gratitude that I can't even come up with words for. And if you guys have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. And I just want you to hit like and subscribe as many times as you fucking can. Taylor and I say that we would like you to have a wonderful night. I'm going to go put some loungewear on. Take care.